What's up, Devo?
How are you guys?
Fantastic. When's the last time you saw the ugly mug of Jay Rosehill?
Besides FaceTime a couple weeks ago from you, we
True.
played together, wow, 10 years ago. So I haven't seen him since. That was a
Crazy,
long
eh?
time ago. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
long time
We
ago.
we played together during the lockout. I
Yep.
was off with Toronto and my contract was expired and needed somewhere to play, so I went to Norfolk to just keep playing and try to wait for the league to open up. And we were in that Ducks organization together, and we were
Yeah.
that Norfolk team was bottom of the basement. I remember Bob Murray coming in screaming himself red at how bad we were and
Oh,
saying, "You guys think you're going to be up with the Ducks when this league goes? You're out of your mind." And I'll just rattle off
yeah.
a few names like Patty Maroon, Sammy Vatanen, Peter Holland, Devante Smith-Pelly, Kyle Palmieri, Frederick Anderson, Caputi, Emerson Edom, Troy Bodie, Hampus Lindholm, Zolnarchuk,
Yeah.
maybe. Like, I'm leaving guys off with hundreds of games. We should have been
It's a stacked
dominant. We were
team.
terrible.
Yeah. We were
And then
terrible.
what happened
Awful.
is, as soon as the lockout ended, guess what happened? Every one of those guys up to the Ducks. I just
Yeah,
called their
yeah,
bluff.
exactly.
Yeah. You went on to bigger
What do you
and better
remember about that
things,
time,
though, didn't
Devo?
you?
No, that time was fun, honestly. That was, I played in the NHL the year before, but I was the youngest guy on the team, like no one near my age at all. So it was kind of boring. So it was good to that lockout year. We had all the guys drafted with me there, all the guys from the draft before there. It was just fun playing with guys like your own age for the first time in pro hockey. So we had maybe a little bit too much fun, but we had some fun.
No, that's good. There's no such thing as too much fun. And it really was a magical journey, man. Like, I remember covering you in junior hockey, drafted by the Ducks, and you win that Stanley Cup. And we'll get to that sort of narrative and that story and that journey for you, because you played a big time role in that cup run for the Washington Capitals. But first and foremost, the Leafs, a big win against the New Jersey Devils last night. What have you made of the body of work of this team and the win last night?
I mean, man, they're always good. Like, I'm from here. I've always been a Leaf fan. These teams are always good. It's hard for me to get excited until the playoffs. That's just how I've always seen it, and I can't trust them. So I don't know. But they're obviously a really good team. That was a big win last night. I mean, against obviously another good team. But to me, just from being here, living here my whole life, I'm afraid to actually trust them and give them, all my fandom.
For good reason. What do you follow anyone else that you played for? Do you kind of Leafs guy now, or do you watch much hockey? Do you just follow guys you used to play with, or what's your story with it now?
Yeah, I just follow, my friends. I've been watching the Caps a little bit. That's pretty much it. I watch my friends. I watch, the Leaf games. Obviously, I'm here, so it's hard to escape. But I'm not watching like a whole heap of hockey. I'm just picking. If I see one of my friends are playing, or a couple of my friends are playing against each other, I'll tune in. But it's not like I'm sitting down with the Game Pass and watching 50 games every night.
Yeah, understandable. You're living your life. You're doing your thing now.
Yeah.
So you look at this Leafs team, and I've referenced it throughout the show. Like, I think you played a unique role in that cup run, Devo. 7 huge goals for that team, and played an instrumental role. Like, you look at this Maple Leafs roster right now, and earlier we talked about Alex Kerfoot. Are there some guys that stand out for you that you can say safely, hey, that he can be me? He can be that standout guy, the X factor guy who helps put this team over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I think a guy like Kerfoot, I think when it comes down to it and the playoffs are happening, he's not going to be up there, so he's going to get easier matchups. So, a guy like him, Jan Krok, anyone in the bottom 6 can be that guy. So, I mean, if you look at the bottom 6, I know a lot of those guys get the flack, but they're producing pretty well. Everyone's doing pretty well in that bottom 6, playing well, doing well, contributing. So, all it takes for you is to get hot for 2.5 months, 3 months, and that changes everything.
What do you remember about that run, man? Like, it just seemed like every time I tuned in for a Caps game in that postseason, and again, it was just a crazy story how you guys were up against it against Columbus, I believe, in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I looked, you scored a big time fucking goal. Like, did you do the same thing every day? Like, are you a superstitious guy?
Well, that team was super superstitious. Like everything we did was like the same thing every single day. So for that 2 months, I didn't practice. All we did was morning skate. Um, I think at the start I maybe practiced once. Didn't like how I felt, so I just like, all right, I'm not practicing. Didn't even show up to the rink on most of those days. I would just, we would just go home until the game. So that's what I would do. But that whole team was so superstitious. Everything we did, down to the, going on the ice, that whole day was just all like routine and rehearsed, and it was pretty funny. And I guess it worked.
What is
Rosie?
Ovi leading that charge, or what's his role in all of that?
Yeah, he's got all his quirks and his. I don't know, you see him yelling in the hallway. He's got all these different things that, the superstitions aren't like, it's not like if you don't do it, guys are freaking out. It's just habit and just having fun and just doing the same thing. And but he definitely is leading the way with volume and just things in general.
Can you clarify the pregame meal? I know the guys on Spit and Chicklets have talked about this before, specifically Biz Nasty. Is it pasta every day?
Yeah, it's I think it's chicken parm and pasta and like 3 different cups of sauce mixed in, and it was like it was crazy. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how his stomach is not like just going crazy after that, but it works. It works, and he always tries to get guys to eat it, and I'm sure guys have tried it, and it definitely didn't last long because it's not good for the stomach for sure.
Yeah,
Rosie?
fuck. Some of those. I think everyone in the show, like those pregame meals are ridiculous. Like huge carbo load at like noon, cap it off with a bowl of ice cream and some garlic bread, and then go sleep for 3 hours. Like the nutritionists were just pulling their hair out, going, "What the fuck are you guys doing? You're at this level, and this is what you're doing." And everyone's just like, "Back away, nutritionist lady. This is what we've been doing since we were 14."
Yeah, and that's your time to shine because during the week and you're not playing, you're trying to keep it relatively tight, and that's your time where carbs are encouraged. So you make sure you get all of them.
Oh, definitely. I do that on a daily basis. I'm not even a hockey player. It's a broadcast routine for yours truly. I'm very superstitious on that front. So you talk about Alex Ovechkin. I wanted to have you on a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, he's chasing history. What was it like to play with Ovi? Do you have any good Ovi stories? Obviously, from winning that Stanley Cup, and like, just what are your general thoughts on this? This journey. I mean, we're gonna see this. It's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah. It's hard to explain. I mean, you have all these ideas of how he's actually going to be before you get there, and I show up and he's the first guy to, with open arms, nicest guy, willing to do anything for everyone on the team. Like it's crazy. And it's nuts that, when I play with him, I think he scored his 600th, and it's like you're not really thinking about he's actually going to get there, and then he scores 50 again and 50 again, and it's like, okay, well, now we're talking, we're getting close here. So to me, I don't, at this point, I don't think there's any doubt, and it's amazing that I got a chance to play with him.
How many cup parties did you attend? Because it seemed like from the outside, Ovi was leading the charge there on that celebration.
Well, any Toronto area one I went to, and then mine was in the middle of that. So I had a long couple weeks, a long couple days into mine. After we initially won, we did the parade. We had, 2 or 3 full team day parties, and then, the guys with wives and kids had to go attend to that. So the other guys, me included, we kept it going for like another 7 to 10 days, and it was a lot. It was fun though. It was a lot, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
I believe
Devo, I haven't asked you, were you at Tom Wilson's party at Addison like 5-6 days after you won the cup?
Probably.
Because dude, I have the most dude, I have the most funny story about that fucking exchange. So We went to Addison. I'm sure you remember Addison. I think it's on Wellington, or it was on Wellington. It used to be
Well,
like
that's
the
where
spot to go.
mine my couple up
Okay.
party was, like the late night part. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you know the spot. My buddy, who's like the biggest Capitals fan ever, like he has a tattoo of a cup 2018 on his arm. That's how big of a fan he is. We got, I guess he got wind that Tom Wilson was doing his Stanley Cup party there. So he got a bunch of the boys together, some of the ladies as well. We headed over, and you know, like the guest list guy, like he drops Tom. He's like, yeah, we're here for Tom. We're here for Tom. They let us through, and Tom Wilson and his people weren't there yet. So we literally ordered the bottles. And then we knew like that time was coming when the Wilson crew was coming through like 30 minutes
Yeah.
later. And like initially it was really, really awkward. But I think, as you know, like, dude, it's so funny. Like he was the nicest dude ever. Like he gave no fucks. And maybe it's because you guys won the Stanley Cup a couple days before. But I'll always remember that is sort of, we just jumped into Tom Wilson's bottle service.
Yeah, no, that's him. I mean, you see how he plays. He's a freak out there, but you know, he's a great guy. He's that doesn't surprise me at all that he would you know, just let that happen and just shrug his shoulder and pay the bill and keep it moving.
Yeah, pretty much what happened, and we thank him for that. I still thank him to this day. So just a couple more on the Leafs. We'll let you go. How do you think they stack up against the Tampa Bay Lightning? Obviously, we all know who the first-round opponent's going to be. As somebody who's dealt with adversity, obviously, you know, being a member of the Washington Capitals, finally getting over that hump. We're still waiting to see if the Leafs can do it, but how do you think they stack up against Tampa here?
I mean, they stack up well. They always stack up well. You know, they've got the high-end guys. Now they've switched up and got a little bit more, you know, sandpaper at the bottom, speed. They've got a really good team, a really deep team, and they always stack up well. It's just that one goal, I mean, there's so much is being made of, you know, them losing in the first round all these years. They've been one goal away every single time. It's just, you know, in that game 6 when they're leading the series, they get a power play. If they score, then we're talking about totally different circumstances. So they always stack up well. It's just they need that timely goal from the bottom 6 or the big guys. Anyone. Just someone needs to do it.
Do you remember the moment in your cup run where you maybe woke up the next day and you're like, we're going to fucking do this. We're going to win this whole damn thing. Was there a specific moment in that run? Do you remember?
I mean, I remember when we beat the Penguins, like the celebration was so
huge.
like,
Yeah.
it was so big, and
you're still celebrating to this day.
Yeah, exactly. And you can just tell how much it meant to like all those guys that have been there forever. To me, I think that was like the turning point. Obviously, we still had to play Tampa and we still had to keep it going, but that you could just tell there was like just a big monkey off everyone's back. And then we went and we like dominated Tampa the next 2 games. Obviously, the series ended up going to 7, but you could tell like after that, those you know, that specific overtime win, like, you know, something special is going to happen. So I think in regards to the Leafs, like they get by this hump. Like now we're talking about a bit of a run here.
And you never know. Boston could be that hump, although they haven't won a playoff series. First and foremost, you got to focus on Tampa. And I still got goosebumps, man. I was looking back on YouTube last night. John Walton's call of you guys winning it all. That's my guy, Johnny Walton out in Washington, man. Just absolute goosebumps. You know, my boy's Peter Bondra as well. So some great things happening with the Capitals. Obviously in a bit of a retool period right now, but they still have Ovi on that roster. Devo, thanks so much for the time and reliving the memories with us, buddy.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys soon.